The things I find most advantageous about the customer portal is the interaction with real people. I would like to say it's selfless, but it's not. I enjoy being able to contribute to other people, and when you do so, a lot of people will take time to show their gratitude and actually acknowledge that what you advise them with actually is helping them. And I've used it for myself in trying to discover different ways of doing things without having to open a case. Because if you open a case, you get a very specific Red Hat way of doing things, which is perfectly fine, right? But it's nice to have an outlook from other people in the real world using the same products that have possibly already gone through the same trials and tribulations that you have, and get their input as to how they solve those problems. One thing I find additional value in the customer portal is, as an active community leader, I go out there to try and engage people and look at the different topics that are out there. And oftentimes I'll find that when I'm trying to do research for people to help them with solving a problem, I end up finding better ways of doing things that I'm already doing. So I find that advantageous because then, I've solved a problem that I didn't even know existed in my own environment. They had invited me, Red Hat had invited me to be a customer portal community leader probably about 8 months ago, because they identified some of the things I had done prior to that point. Engaging people in conversations, trying to engage more conversation, and bring people into the conversation and encourage further dialogue with people. You start to recognize people by name, and you develop a bit of trust between the users, and I think other people will catch on to that as well. There's definitely a direct interaction between people when they respond, and they address each other by name, typically. Sometimes they'll reference other interactions that they've had with each other on the portal when describing their solutions and how they go about fixing problems. So the customer portal has been extremely overhauled in the last year. They put a lot of work into making it a lot more convenient and more telling about information. And the way that it helps me is generally I'll be able to present a question, or I'll get involved in a discussion, and then people will kind of introduce their methodologies or their scripts or some of their blog sites to stuff that they've come across and how that might lend itself to solving a problem that I have. There is the documented way that is anybody can go out and pull the documentation, but sometimes you just want to get the understanding and talk to some of the people that have experienced some of the pitfalls or the shortcomings of trying to introduce that solution to their own environment and not have to suffer the same fate. I'm very passionate about what is going on here, open source, and I could have picked any direction to go with my career, but I appreciate what Red Hat brings to the table. They talk about things out in society that don't necessarily lend itself just to IT. It Gets Better video. That was amazing when they introduced that. So I believe in what these people talk about. Every year they come here with the passion and the vibrancy, and they talk about real world things, and they keep changing the game. Right? You keep expecting it to get static and stale, and it's not. Jim gets up there, and I get excited because there's things going on, and they continue to go on, and I just look forward to seeing what's going to happen.